G'day guys, I just thought I'd let you see what I've been up to. I'm actually finally going to start doing my studio. So I'm doing the front wall at the moment. As you can see, that's the doorway here. I'm standing in the doorway. I've just put the skin on, which is 12mm ply. I'm going to use that and then I'm going to put bats in between. But I'm also going to, if you can see over in this corner here, it's a yellow light switch. But in here, in between the battens here, I'm going to put bats in there as well. So I'm going to have that, then 12mm, then I'm going to have bats again, then 12mm again, and then you come inside the room. So what I first did is to keep the front wall off, I put in this timber stud. I've screwed it through the C-channel here. Floor to ceiling, of course, it goes up all the way up, and what I'll do is when the wall goes into place, I'll screw the wall to these. There's one on each side of the framework here. So there's one over here as well. And then when she's screwed up, then I can dynabolt the wall into the floor. And we have a little bit of a problem here, which is when they did this, they put a slight slope on this part of they put a slope down here, so it's actually sloped to the front. The problem with that is now it makes my wall uneven. So what I've got to do is when I put the wall in, I'm going to go along and put a piece of timber across the front doorway, and then I'm going to put self-leveler in, and then that should level it out, and then I'll finish the rest of the wall off. So basically what's going to go on the inside here, if you can see, it's probably a bit dark in here. That's the back of the wall, as you can see, the studs. Once I get the front wall in this corner over here, basically in that gap there from the door, just a bit back from the door, is going to be the sound booth. And I really need that at the moment because there's recordings I've got to finish, and it's very difficult to do that because, well, I'm in a tin shed, and you know, reverberates, noise is terrible. At the moment I'm lucky, I'm only doing speaking. There's no singing or anything like that, but it can cause a problem because you hear a car going down the road, a bird chirp in the trees, a leaf falls on the tin roof and it sounds like an echo chamber. So I've got to get that done first. I did try and do a reflection filter from SE Electronics. Great device. The only downside is it doesn't help with the surrounding noise. So, but anyway, it's now pushed me into creating my studio. This is my part of my main studio here. I go through Mac and I use Logic. But my wife came up with a great idea. We had a spare 42-inch screen. Didn't really know what to do with it. I was going to do it for like movie editing and stuff like that, hang it up on the wall, and then have a video playing on that while I did a music score. But basically what we've done is I've used that as my second monitor, and you know, the high res on these bloody computers now, it's very hard to see what you want to do. So what I do is all the plugins and other devices that I need to see, I pop over to this screen. So and it makes it larger, which makes life a hell of a lot easier for me to create. And under there, of course, I've got a keyboard, I've got another 88 key here, and that's my little mixers I just bought. Software coming out my ears. Anyway, we'll get into that later. So anyway, welcome to my studio, and you can see the progression as I go along. I'll keep you in the loop and show you what I'm doing. The other thing too is you can go really mad on soundproofing. I think with the padding on the wall and then 12mm, then padding again, then 12mm again, and then maybe carpet, you know, your normal reflection stuff on the interior, it should pretty well kill it. You know, it should be pretty right, because I will be completing the whole room. Okay, there will be 16 microphone inputs. There will be 8 headphone jacks with volume controls on it that I'll be running through my mixer system through the wall, so you can have, I could play squeeze a whole band in here. I mean, I've got my little electronic drum kit sitting here, so, and I'm going to be, it's basically where the sound booth's going to end. Well, actually no, it's not. I've moved it a bit more, so I've still got enough room to pretty well get a 5-piece band in here without, you know, too much drama. In behind there is my my beautiful bass amp down over that side, which is my head, and it's a big 900 watt sucker sitting down here. I've got an electric guitar, little custom amp, and I've got another practice amp sitting underneath there. So you've got amps already in here, and there's bags around, you know. So, but anyway, I'll keep you in the loop. So here we go, back into the old building again. So yeah, I'll see how we go. Cheers, guys. See, I've gone along and now put in this extra thick wall. I've put in bats in this section here. So then I'm going to get some more bats, which are here. And then as I'm about to put the wall up, I'm going to put that bat in, basically, in there. So I can end up with a double thickness. And then the wall will push up against that, and then that's sealed. And I will do that all the way through, because I can get 2 bats in all the way around pretty much. So it's going to be, I think, pretty sealed, I think, more than anything else. So anyway, I'll continue, and I'll talk to you soon. All in place now. Okay, so you've got you just see the top of the bats up here. That was the second layer. I've basically knocked her into place. Now I've just marked here, there's pencil marks coming down here. So that's my stud that's going to support this wall until I get the Dynabolt. There's going to be 4 Dynabolts going to go into the base. Once I line it up, make sure it's okay. I'm going to do a string line from each corner to make sure that these 2 doorway ends are in line with each other. You must always make sure that it's actually in line, because anyway, you can make a complete mess of it. But anyway, so there she's up, ready to go. This is the other side, just up there. You can see the bats. I just tape them up there to hold them in place until I get the wall up. The wall's in there. I've got to line it up. I've got to put another stud in here, and it's not really a support stud at all. It's basically to support this join. Okay, so what you do is put a piece of timber in there, and all you need to do is basically, I'm using nails, but if you had screws, you just screw it together and you wouldn't have to hold it, nail it, do anything with it. And it'll hold that seam nice and neat. At the moment there's a slight bow in this one sticks out this side here, sticks out a bit further than this one. So I'll put a piece of timber in there and then nail them both together. I may screw these two, I don't know yet, I'll see how that goes with nails. And then that's sealed, that Dynabolts. Then I'll put the bats in this wall, inside skin, and then I can go along and do the levelling at the bottom. I'll put a piece of timber across the front of the entryway, just so when I put the leveler in, it'll just sort of fill the whole area, because I've got to put a slight little step in there because of the curvature. And then I can put like, I'm not going to do any fancy steps. Okay, I'm putting 2 solid doors on here. So there's going to be one going to be swinging out, one swinging in, to make damn sure no sound gets in or gets out. The 2 solid doors. I'm also putting another solid smaller door on this sound booth, which I'm actually standing in the sound booth when I get it finished. So hopefully it'll keep all the sound out. Okay, so I'll keep moving and a little bit later on. Okay, so now what we've done is we've gone along and we've put the screws in. So I've done them all down through here. You can see the screw lines going down there. Okay, so now she's solid, she's not going anywhere. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone along and, I don't know if you can see it down here, but there's a string line. And what I've done is I've used the string line from one side to the other, so I can make sure that the doorway is actually square. Okay, you've got to make sure they're in line. You can't have them like one's pointing in, one's pointing out type of thing. So the doors will never line up. So I've used the string line across the entry. Yeah, there's your string line. Alright, so it actually runs right, there's the Dynabolt holes, runs across the doorway, the other side. Now I've got a Dynabolt that's going there, and there, that'll hold that wall in place. There, and the other end. So anyway, so I'm going to do the Dynabolts now. Once I've got the Dynabolts in, the doorway won't move. I mean, this end of it's not that bad really. The Dynabolts, I suppose in some ways you don't really have to go along and put them in there because you've got the line here. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go along and then get a bit of timber, run it in here. Yeah, so I can make that join right. Then I'll go along and I'll go and put the bats in, line up the inside skin, and then yeah, then we're pretty well right to put the self leveler in, and Bob's your uncle. Then we can go away on holidays, and when it comes back it'll be nice and dry. Just so you can see it, I've done the timbers in, the support rail, the dyno bolts are in the bottom. I don't know if you can see them down there. There's one down there. There's one just down there, and on the other side. And then of course we go out here, and then you've got your screws going down the side, down the joint. And then it's sealed, very nice and smooth, so we can bog over that because we're going to paint it, and my wife's going to do a nice pattern and stuff over it. And that's basically pretty well finished in that section of it. I've also put a piece of timber across the wall there, so when I put the self leveler in, it'll fill up that section out. I knock that out later on, and then I'll put my step in go. So I've got the bats in, as you can see. They're already in the wall. So the only thin section of this is basically from here across, that's the actual opening, but the rest of the building will be double thickness in here plus this on each individual wall. So this is probably this little bit here is the only vulnerable part to excessive noise, because it doesn't have this side, this extra double thickness in here when I put bats in that as well. Alright, but anyway, so there she is. There's the skin over there, if you can see it, ready to go on, just see. All ready to cut her up, she's all ready to go, so we can put her up, and that's basically going to be sealed. So this is actually proper acoustic dampening, so yeah, it should work out pretty good. We don't get a huge amount of noise around this area, so she should be reasonably quiet. Plus also, if I've got instruments playing, there's actually another wall again before you go where they are, so this front section should be okay. You understand what I mean? The other side here is going to be a storage cupboard, and it'll have a curtain in front of it which will kill sound and slow down. You understand that stuff as you go along. It's basically going to be a bass trap, and then I'll store gear in there. So that wall will be double thick anyway to the rest of the building. Okay, and then you have two solid doors at the entry. So pretty well should kill the sound. All right. Anyway, I've got to get the wall up, and I'm running out of dope. Cleaned the floor. The floors are all nice and clean. I've got the bucket ready to go. I've got a chair outside. The other side of the room is done now. Okay. The main thing with this is the fact it's only a half wall. Simple fact is that we're going to have like the holes, because I'm going to have cables hanging up in here and all this sort of stuff. Then this is going to be covered, and then there's guitars down here. So I've put in a solid wall at the bottom. The upside with having the solid wall means I can now pour the leveler, and that's done. Then I go on holidays, and then hopefully it'll be all nice and dry by the time we get back. So anyway, outside to do the mix, get ourselves organised, and we can sit down and take it easy. There you go. I'm going to read a bit of information and then do the mix and give it a pour. Alright, cheers. I've got the level down now, so if you have a look down there, you'll see it across behind me on the floor there, the dark grey stuff. Alright, so it's down there, level up. We're half an inch there on the front step. And then now we go on, now we can relax now, get ourselves organised, and we're off north to beautiful Cairns and Port Douglas and all that. So have a great one. See you when I get back, and we'll continue from there. Have a great one. Cheers, bye.